Alright, so pretty straightforward. We've done this once before in the other video. So, I'm gonna get me something. Alright, so there's a little notch in here. I'm gonna get something to protect this leather. I like to very carefully go ahead and get it aligned first. No, I don't like to do that. I like to push it up to the edge and very carefully go down there and get it in that notch, and it pops right out. You'll hear it pop. Same thing on the other side. Need a little bit more leverage there. See, I put my finger there to catch it, to keep it from popping way too far out. Now, there's two cables, connectors that go in here. Pretty straightforward. And you can see here it's got these 4 pins. Those are the pins that when you're prying loose with the tab, that's the pins that are popping out. So I'm going to go ahead and let that sit down here in my bag. And we'll come in here, and those are not Phillips screwdrivers. Alright, those are hex heads, it looks like. But this guy's going to have to come out. You undo the snap. And open up that Velcro there. There she comes. Oh, that's a pain. Oh, it's like a real tight sock. Alright, so there she goes. There's those 2 pieces. They just pop right in. Now I got a better look at this screw. Oh, it's in there pretty good. You know, usually when you get like a screw loose, you can get it going with your fingers, but this one's kind of tight all the way through. Okay, here's the hex head set. Let's see if we can't find the right one. Of course, these are real pain, right? The way they come all jammed up in the bag. Oh, who's the man? Right off the bat. Okay, so once again, I'm really worried about when I take these out that I drop the screws. Right, so I'm going to be very specific about how I try to control these screws as they come out. A little bit of concentration goes a long way. These guys, you know, they're not very tight. Pretty easy. And we're in a garage, so when I mean parking garage, not like auto repair garage. So those 4 screws up there on the top, and then down here on the bottom is a screw, and it's actually with a tab, so you don't have to pull that screw all the way out, which makes me really happy because I don't want to drop that screw down there. And let's just be really careful and methodic about how we get this thing pulled up and out. I'm going to pull this up on my lap and have a look. This connector here has a black tab, and I'll focus in on it and take a picture of it so you can see it, but that tab I'm going to slide over, and it should unlock it. There's a little locking lever on top, and then it slides over, and this whole connector basically comes right out. And then these guys look like they've got a tab on the bottom and should pop right out. So you can see, and we'll look at these when I get it up into the house. But those are the offending buttons here that I'll be changing. These ones are not going to get redone. So kind of a hairy mess down here, but while I got it open, I am going to kind of just give it a once over look and make sure nothing really jumps out at me. Here's the locations of the screws. There's 2 Allen head screws here and here, so 4 total. And then down here is that screw I was talking about. I didn't want to take this one all the way out because, to be honest with you, I was afraid that my ham hands would drop it and then it would go down in here, and that I think would be a nightmare. Okay, so here we have the radio unit. You can see the buttons are pretty nasty. They're just melted and fingerprinty and kind of nasty. So that's the whole reason we're doing this particular job. So looks like there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws possibly. And it looks like this one here is already snapped. Let's see if we can get in there and take a closer look at it. Right around this screw right here, the plastic is cracked right there. Can we see that? Yeah, we can see that. It's cracked right along in there. So that's kind of a bummer, yeah. I like to use, or try to use when I can, the magnetic tip screwdrivers so that the screws come out and the screwdriver kind of holds the screw right along with it. These are not very tight in this particular case. I don't know if they're normally tight, but on mine, you know, I'm in discovery mode here, right? It's just not that tight. And I'm putting pressure down because if there's springs in here, when you get down to your last screw, if the springs are pushing up hard enough, then maybe it'll break that tab, and that might have been what happened before if this has been apart. Oh, I see. Okay, there's the springs that we talked about. And get a hold of those springs and put them right back in here. Okay, now what? Now there's 4 screws that are holding the circuit board down. There comes the screen, and it pulled away from the buttons. So, okay, it looks like I messed up. I probably didn't need to take out the circuit board, so I'll deal with that because I'm, you know, dumb. Do not take the circuit board out of this assembly. Once you get the backing plate off that had those 4 springs in it, the circuit board and this little white bracket assembly should pop right out. Didn't need to take that board out, but this is the one here. There's all the sticky buttons. You can see they're just, you know, pretty easy to come out. So the knobs, God, you can see it's coming black off on my fingers. The knobs, the buttons, these all pop out pretty good. So I'll go get me a little Ziploc bag. Okay, so this is the accessory control. Remember, I'm not going after these. So if you want to get after these, then there's, looks like 6, 7, see, 2, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 screws there to get that front panel off. Comes off, so you can get at these. But you can see mine are pretty good. Not going to have a go at those. What I am going to have a go at though are all of these buttons. I mean, those are so nasty, I can't hardly even stand it. So, looks like there's 4 screws there. So let's just go get those out. Okay, so there was that last screw there behind the inspection sticker. Again, gotta love the magnetic tip screwdriver. This should just come right out. And indeed it does. Pretty straight. Let's lift this whole guy up and see what's going on here. So what we're angling to do is come after all of these clips on the outside here. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Here you can see there's the clip there. Right, and that's the front piece, and then this is the back plastic piece. Right, so we're trying to remove this piece and this piece and do that all the way around the edges. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think, without breaking it. there they came apart. So the buttons look like they just fit down in, and you can see how they rotate there. And then they slide over. There's nothing magical to it. Well, okay, just to recap, we took out the radio, we took out the console, we brought them up to the workbench, and we took out the radio buttons. You saw me make a mistake and remove the circuit board. Don't remove the circuit board. And then we took the buttons out, packaged them up, and mailed them off. So that concludes this video. If you got any questions or comments, please add them below. And as always, I do appreciate if you throw a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Appreciate the feedback, negative or positive. And subscribe if you'd like to see the next set of movies that come out. Thanks again.